Omwano Minto, as a Democratic nominee candidate, now a representative elect, it's very hard because we know what Trump stands for. He's not for immigration. He's not for women's rights. He's not for everything that this country represents. But at the same time, we live in a democracy, and we have to understand that in a democracy, that people chooses. Whatever message he has out there, obviously more than what is needed in terms of votes, people, voters have voted for him. So it's unfortunate, but here we are in a democracy, and in a democracy, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Now we have to figure out how do we work together to move our country forward in this next 4 years. Some of us might have voted, you never know. Time and time again that he will deport immigrants. He will do this, he will do that. When he was elected the first time, the policies that he set still to this point affect us people, especially as immigrants in this country. So one of that, we are bracing for the worst, but we are trusting that God is still in control, and that in a democracy, I hope that freedom and justice will reign. It run is because I now understand how this system works. Sometimes when you don't have the knowledge, you can't, you might not be thriving the best that you can, right? So when I was working as a non-profit leader and really going to the capital where the lawmakers are, then I found myself hitting my head against the wall, asking for the lawmakers to listen to our needs, right? And then one day, I realized, wait a second, if they won't listen to me, why don't I run so I can be the one making those decisions, making those policies, so that I can champion the voices that have been silenced for so long, right? So I decided to run to represent and to bring the uniqueness of my district. Like I said, the district is very diverse in racial diversity. But the biggest population of my district is African immigrants. African immigrants also lead in small businesses in my district, but they don't get the resources that they need. African immigrants are behind when we talk about healthcare, when we talk about education, when we talk about all of these other social services, that the state has enough money. Last year, let me tell you this. 17 billion in surplus in the state of Minnesota, and you mean to tell me we couldn't even get 0.1% of that surplus to the African immigrant community? There's something wrong with that. So that's why I said I'm going to go there, fight for the money that we are also contributing to this system. I want to work with Minnesota. They have been amazing. I want to work, especially our Wakisii community. They have held my hand. They have given me money. They have come and volunteered in my campaign. They have stood by my side, and that's why today I can sit here and say that this win wasn't just for myself. It's a community win, because we all came together the last year to go fight to the last vote, and today is a testament of that. I think when it comes to governing and leadership in politics, especially here in America, it's about creating relationships. Me, I have championed my message around going across the aisle, working with the other side to talk about what makes sense. If there's a policy that actually makes sense, I don't care whether it is coming from the Republican side. I don't care whether it's coming from the Democratic side. If it's going to help our community thrive and grow, I'm going to champion that policy. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether you are white, black, you name it. You want to save neighborhoods. You want access to healthcare. You want access to a world-class education. You want to be able to have a job that provides you a livable wage, right? All of those things has nothing to do with whether you are a Republican or a Democrat. You want your kids to thrive, all of us. So my goal as I go into this is to be a voice of reason and to bring people together from different sides to say, this is the good policy, let's champion it. Because it brings value into our community. A taste of what Trump is about. We've seen how his policies have affected us. And we will continue to see that, especially if you remember back in the COVID times, this man literally banned a whole group of people, the Muslim community, where he banned none of them to enter the U.S. And we were talking about American citizens. So is there fear? Of course, but we have to also stand firm in the name of the democracy, the rights and the powers that we have within this country, to make sure that, he doesn't become what he has claimed to do from Project 2025, right? And that's a fight that as a Democratic Party and as a citizen in general here in the U.S. that we have to be ready for, to make sure that we defend this democracy and we defend the inclusivity and the nature of our democracy and the freedoms that democracy affords us. HULDA MOMANYI ngine chibu on mesa Hiltsley. Orogongo rwa nyamimiso kero gwetani tundubari ya tobe kero gwetani ga gwaikire nyamimiso nongorokuru. So proud to be able to be that new Minnesota House of Representative elect Huldah Hiltsley, and to really represent Kenyans and Wakisii in general. A lot of times, Mwana Minto, you've covered a lot of stories. Now it's time for us to America and to go our chest and be proud, because this is why I want the next generation to know this, that you can still live GUSII and you can still maintain your culture, you can still maintain since I was here since 9 years old. I hope that this win will show our people that we can still go out here and thrive in foreign land and still be able to give back to our community back home. Oh yes, in America, how we run politics, you have to go to the people themselves. You have to ask for their vote. You have to campaign, a long campaign, from voters to be party delegates, and then from there kwagenda buy for the party ticket, and then from there kwagenda primary, there's another candidate, and then from the primary now watch a general election. So this journey has been long. Since December of last year, celebrate the win. I think has been working so hard to reach every voter in this district. It is very diverse, by the way. A district, it's the most diverse in the whole entire state of Minnesota. So the fact that Ninjina Winnipeg speaks a lot of testament into that my team, Oh yes, I have always been a part of this community. I got to move to America. My father, my parents, they fought really hard to stay here. We were only about 48 hours away from being deported to Kenya. But by God's grace, there was a senator who petitioned the courts, and then our case was overturned. 22 years later, here I am running for office. So my parents have always been instrumental in making sure they teach me the art of giving back, the art of serving Abantu. I served the president of NYAMIRA here in Minnesota for 3 years, and that gave me an understanding of where the resources in our community. How do you fight for resources? America is going and talking to politicians so that they can make policy and laws that cater to your issues. Fight for us. So I decided to run, and you asked me about my education. I graduated with 3 undergrad degrees: international business, international relations, and reconciliation studies. And then in my master's, and I currently working as a global business manager, privacy operations manager, Boston Scientific. But out of all of that, all of these accomplishments, I think where I find my passion when I serve Abantu, when I'm serving my community, and that's why I decided to go for politics, because I understood the power that politics has in changing people's lives, and because I realized Abantu they're not represented at the capital, Minnesota, and so I decided to run so that I can bring that different perspective to the capital. know abagusii n'abantu abangaini, abakenya n'abantu abangaini, Africans in general n'abantu abangaini. It's just that we don't take out that opportunity to vie for these seats. I say, most of us aba Kenya, aba Africa, ikaga America, tuwate batiganda osieto shilingiane nkororo, but not realize my message to abantu baito, my message to abantu baito. There we go. My message to abantu baito is this. Don't go and to other things to settled. We have to continue to push because we are also contributing to the country that we are living in. The taxes are being taken out of my paycheck, right? So that I'm trying to fight for, and the resources that I'm trying to fight for our community. Most of us in Kenya Kenya. We are having our babies here. We are buying amali here. Kenya is not the same Kenya. So I'm encouraging our people, we can still contribute to Kenya, but at the same time making sure that we are building a good environment for our kids here to grow up where they can thrive. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of work to do. We had a chance to really put in an amazing candidate who is Kamala Harris in office, and as the first woman, right? And that's not the only reason why she was we wanted her to win. She is very qualified. So we have to go back as a party and really figure out, what do we want as a party? How do we align ourselves to make sure that in 4 years from now, we're in a position where we can win back the White House, win back the Senate, win back the House, and make sure we continue to move this country forward as a party. Now, when you come to the local level, luckily enough, how the U.S. political system is set up and governance is that the states have also their own separate, I would call it free will to create policies and laws that govern certain areas of our lives. And thankfully enough, each state can make their own rules about certain things. And I'm glad that I live in a state where we champion, especially the Democratic Party, we champion the policies that really address the basic needs of its citizens here in the state of Minnesota. America system ya politics is set up where go to what the executive, the legislator, and then the courts. I was looking for the legislative city of Minnesota. So on your komboli etaro ya nevona na kingoroku yongoroku representative elect HULDA MOMANYI Hiltsley.
Wow, congratulations.
Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Be blessed.
I'll be blessed.